Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, let's get started. So today's video is actually a request video, which I haven't done before, which is really exciting that I got a request to do something. So the user Ro on YouTube asks if I could show them how to make a train beat. They've got a stock PO-33 KO, and interested in learning how to make the stock drum kit kind of sound like a train. Now, a train beat, traditionally in drumming, is kind of used to give the music a sense of kind of push and drive, all while maintaining a pretty good groove. One of the classic examples of a train beat being used in music to kind of emulate a train, in this case it's used alongside a train, is actually the beginning of the musical The Music Man. The tune Rock Island starts off with a whole bunch of salesmen on a train, and is a fun example of how the train rhythm can really kind of propel a song and, you know, help it carry rhythmically into where it needs to go. So in music, there's typically two kinds of train beats. There's one that is a little groovier and it swings a little bit, and that one usually goes like dook-a-jack, 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 dook-a-jack. A good example of that would be like I Want You to Want Me. That's a really good song by Cheap Trick. That uses the train beat. And then the second kind of train beat is more one that like chugs along, like shugga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga. And we see that one a lot more like in musicals and things like that, but it still provides a lot of push. So we are going to learn both of those today using stock sounds on the PO-33 KO. My screen is cracked and a little bit kind of hard to see, I guess you could say, so bear with me here. So we're first going to go to a blank pattern, so we'll go to pattern 1. So first up, we're going to make the kind of swingier version, the dook-a-jack, 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 dook-a-jack. And we actually only need two sounds for this. We need a snare drum and a bass drum. So let's go to drum set. We'll go to pad number 9 to slot number 9. We need a kick drum, that'll work, and a snare drum, that'll work too. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put a bass drum on 1, 2, 3, and 4, or pads 1, 5, 9, and 13. So we're going to select sound 5, press right, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little fast, so let's hold BPM. Let's bring it to like 125, anywhere between, not 130, anywhere between 120 and 130 is probably okay. 123, perfect. Okay, so now there's our snare drum. So we're going to select that, and we're going to click right. We're going to put that on every other open step. My LED on button 12 is a little broken, but it is on there. So now let's listen. We're getting there. So now what we need to do is change the dynamics on some of these. So we want to take off the ones on pad 3, 7, 11, and 15. We're going to turn the volume of this sample all the way up and then put the samples back in. That's all with write mode on. So it'll sound like this. That's a bit much. So let's bring the volume down and put them back in. Still a bit hot, so let's take those 4 off, turn it down again. Still a bit much. This is all a very precise game here of just kind of getting it to where you want. That's pretty good. Now it still sounds off. We need to put some swing on the pattern. So we're going to hold BPM, and then we're going to use knob A to give us about 4 to 5 on the swing meter. I don't know what the actual scale is, but yeah, let's listen. And here's what it would sound like with 5. Whoop, not pitch. There we go. You can see why they call it a train beat. So now if we want to kind of take this one step further, let's copy it to another pattern slot. And so we go do-ga-chaka, 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 do-ga-ga. So now we want to untick this one right here on slot 14 and then copy one of the loud ones, in this case on slot 15, and place that into slot 14. So now it'll kind of have a do-ga-chaka, do-ga-da, like this. So let's chain that with pattern 1 and then pattern 2. Now let's listen. And there we go. There's our first basic train beat. Okay, moving on. Now let's go for our more chugging train beat, the shigga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga. So the first thing we're going to do before we forget is we're going to hold BPM, turn knob A all the way to the left, and turn off the swing. This pattern will not have swing. So for this one, we are going to need 2 of our tracks. We're going to need 2 different drum kits. So the first thing we're going to do, let's find a new snare drum. That one should work. We are on pattern or slot 10, sound number 2. So we're going to press right, fill in every single step, all 16. We're going to use this to get our tempo to where we want. I have it at 149, anywhere between 145 and 155, depending on your personal taste, should work. So now we're going to let that play. We're going to hold right and turn down the volume to somewhere around halfway. And now we're going to stop it. We're going to go back to sound bank number 9. Whoop. We're going to select a hi-hat. Just making sure none of them are better than this one. Number 3, that's the one to go. We're going to put that on 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to bring down the pitch a little bit and bring up the volume. And then we're actually going to take steps 2 and 4 off. And we're going to take sample number 4 and put it on 2 and 4. This one's a little harder to pull off on the pocket operator just because it is a machine, and a lot of times this train beat will have a lot more nuance to it because it's typically being played by an actual drummer, but that's okay. So now with those sounds on beat 2 and 4, or steps 5 and 13, and we're going to press effect until we get to trim. And we're going to trim it down to about 160, 170, depending on the length we want. There we go. That's pretty good. And of course you can play around with this. This is just how I would do it. Given the circumstances and what we're working with. So now we're going to go back to our snare drum, and I like to take the offbeats off and put them back in at a little lower level. And it's a very subtle difference, but you can hear that it's a little more nuanced now. We can even put these ones in here on the end of each count, or pads 3, 7, 11, and 15. Add a little louder if we want. That was too loud. There we go, and you can kind of play around with it. That's just how I like to have the sound set up, and the hi-hats layered and things like that. But of course, this is all personal preference. This is just kind of meant to get you started. But there you go, 2 very fun beats that you can use to kind of spice up your music. On the PO-33, a beat like this might be better suited for kind of a build-up to a drop or something like that. Whereas the first train beat that we worked on definitely has some groove to it, and you could probably sequence a pretty sweet bass line to it, maybe throw a lead over the top of it. Or if you were feeling really ambitious, maybe some like vocal chops or something like that. But there you go, 2 patterns you can use to kind of give your music a sense of urgency. Ro, I hope this video helped you. If it did, please let me know. If not, I'll get back to you and try to elaborate a little better. It's kind of hard to teach on the PO-33, on my PO-33 with the screen all busted up. You can't see exact values and stuff like that. But either way, if you guys dug this video, please be sure to leave it a thumbs up. If not, you can leave it a thumbs down. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings. Just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Ring that notification bell. Let's get started. Nope, that's the intro. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.